Today I'm going to show you how you can fix a water damaged Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101 screen using a Ds Lite Lcd. And bam! Look at that, all that water damage. It's pretty bad. And my battery is dying. I don't know if you've seen in the past, I've actually fixed these, but recently someone commented, can you use a Ds Lite? And I tried it, so it actually does work, but it does have its pros and cons. I actually remember attempting something similar, but back then, my skills and knowledge on these weren't up to par yet. I'm going to start off by taking the LCD apart, and it doesn't matter if you use the bottom one or the top one, it will still work. It's the exact same LCD. Oh, and as you can see here, it actually says bad screen, doesn't work. That's because I got it from a parts bin, so that's the one we're going to be using. Alright, so now what you want to do is remove the backing from it. Alright, I didn't think that would be that hard, but apparently it was. So you're supposed to remove that. And after you remove that one, then you remove this one. I don't know why this one was that hard and difficult. I had a hard time with it because the first time it wasn't nearly as hard. It just came right off. This one had a bunch of, like sticky adhesive to it. So that is what you want to use right there. And then I want to point out, not all the Ds Lite LCDs are going to have this white backing to it. It might have one where it's kind of translucent. You'll want to use like some sort of paper or plastic that's white that will reflect the light more, because if you have one of those translucent ones where it's not a solid opaque white, the light is just gonna pretty much shine through and it's not gonna work correctly. You'll have to use, for me in my instance, I used cardboard, like cardstock, and it made a huge difference on how it looked. But anyways, these are the films you want to use. And our main goal is to mimic if you've seen my other video where I replaced the films inside the AGS 101 LCD, we're going to do the same thing but using these, but mimic the AGS 101 screen, how they are on there, because this has way many more films than that one does. And keep in mind, there's two versions. This is a brown tab and there's a white tab. So on the one, if you're attempting this yourself, you'll want to use the amount of films yours has. So some have 3, some have 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly the amount. Oh, and if you haven't noticed yet, I got a new soldering red mat. Let me know what you think. You love it, hate it, don't care? Comment down below. But anyways, now I'm going to move on to the AGS 101 LCD, taking it apart so we can take out the films inside. But since I've already done it before and it's very similar to what I just did, let's just do it with the snap. Alright, so now that you have it taken apart, you want to remove all the films that are inside. And you don't have to be careful with these since they're water damaged and dirty anyways. Alright, so what you want to do next is count them. You got 1, and memorize the order in it as well. You got 1 pretty clearish, silverish. You got 1 frosty. Let's call it that, frosty. You got your thick clear one, and then your metallic mirror-like layer. So this one has 4. So this is the white tab. The brown tab I think has like 5 or 6. But anyways, now that I see it, these two don't look that bad at all, which I ruined it pretty much right there by putting my fingerprints. But for the sake of the video, I won't reuse these. I'll use just purely the DS Lite ones. I'll just save these for my own. Maybe I can use them on another repair. But definitely this is where the main bad part is. Yeah, that's bad. That definitely needs replacing, as well as the very last one. The very last one, however, I've noticed it doesn't matter too much. What matters the most is these front ones. This clear one, which I've seen, that one causes a lot of issues, and these two right here. So now there's 4. I'll put them in order on the side, and we'll go ahead and take out the ones from the DS Lite screen. Being more careful with this, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. It's just bothering me so much. Or maybe just fold it all the way. Kind of don't want to rip that in case I ever want to reuse those LEDs for a mod or something. Trying to be careful. I don't want to add too much fingerprints to this. Alright, so I'm going to start laying down one by one, choosing the ones I'm going to use. But I'm actually going to be using a piece of paper just to keep these clean. Since this mat, you probably can't tell on camera, but it's pretty dusty. There's dust particles on it and whatnot. And I want to keep these films as clean as possible. So there's the clear rainbowish looking one, similar to this first layer. That would be my first one. Then the frosty. Then the clear, kind of frosted, thicker plastic one. And then the mirror-like one on the end. This actually had the same exact amount, so it might work better, I'm not sure. But when I tried it, the DS Lite one had like a lot more, so it was probably similar to the brown tab one. But we're fixing to try it out and see how it goes. But before I can just pop them in there in order, you'll have to do one last thing because it's not going to work just how it is. I'll go ahead and move this to the side. Alright, so what you want to do while keeping everything clean is to make sure each film is going to fit. So you'll have to cut each one to size pretty much. So on this one I'll have to cut this tab off, a little bit of this corner, and a little bit of this corner over here. Right there and right here. So I'll go ahead and start doing that on each one. Alright, on this thick plastic one piece, although the DS Lite one is a little thinner, I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not, but you'll want to cut it either using a Dremel or a knife or something, because if you use the cutting tool for wire or something, it'll just mess it up, probably make it look uglier. And voila, it fits. Now for the last reflective layer. Not sure which would be best. Probably this way right here. I think that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove all of them and put them back in order, making sure they're super clean before I put them in. Alright, and the only thing left to do is to put it back together. Alright, now that it's back together, it's time to test it out and see how it goes. Moment of truth right here. Or not. Yes. Didn't turn on the first time. But yes, it works. That is awesome. Of course, I already knew that, but it's just nice to see it clean and flawless to how it was before. I'll compare it on screen right here, and you can see the difference. I mean, it looks clean, but not completely, I mean, because it needs a new lens, but that's really easy and I'll do it later. So the pros to this is, you know, you won't have that water damage and it won't look ugly. You definitely won't be able to tell in game anymore. But I mean, definitely the place where you could tell the most is in the white screens. But man, you just bring back to life your AGS 101 screen. It looks really clean. And the only con is that it's just a little less brighter than the original AGS 101 films. But really, if you don't compare it side to side, you really can't tell the difference too much. But it's way better than having that water damage, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and test it out with the game. I'll be using Mario Kart. And yeah, as expected, looks super clean, really nice. Oh, before I go, another thing I forgot to mention is that first holographic clearish layer. Make sure you put that in the right orientation, the way you took it out. Because if you put it on the other way, it'll just reflect the light back in and the screen itself will be super dim and it'll look terrible. So keep that in mind. And really all you got to do is just remember the order and orientation and you should be fine. Alright, so that's all for this video. If y'all want to see the first version where I fix it using a broken AGS 101 LCD screen, make sure to check out the original video up here. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.